Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. My editorial today is not very sensational. It is a lot of information. It has a lot of information, and therefore I will be reading a lot in today's editorial. Okay, so yesterday I spoke about the Supreme Court not giving permission to the farmers to protest in Jantar Mantar. Also, actually reprimanding the farmers as to why are you blocking the roads and causing inconvenience to others. We also spoke about, my colleagues spoke about Priyanka Gandhi being detained and not allowed to go to Lakhimpur. Rahul Gandhi this morning was stopped for a while. Today, let me tell you, both Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi are allowed to go to Lakhimpur. So the question that I wanted to ask today is, in fact, this is not my question. A subscriber, Rohit Khosla had asked this question to me yesterday, where he asked me that is protest our fundamental right? So yes, this is the question, Rohit, I'm going to ask tonight. Is the right to protest a fundamental right? Let's discuss that. Let's get right into the show. Do you know, as a country, we taught this world a form of protest. Mahatma Gandhi taught this world a concept called Satyagraha. Now that said, the question that we want to ask tonight is the right to protest a fundamental right of an Indian according to our constitution? This is the question. Now let me tell you the answer. Part 3 of our constitution, which talks about our fundamental rights, part 3 of our constitution, or for that matter of fact, nowhere in our constitution is the word protest mentioned. Our constitution does not mention the word protest. This is point number 1. But, like I said, part 3 of our constitution, which talks about our rights, has 3 clauses. 19(1)(a), which talks about all citizens shall have the right of freedom of speech and expression. A. B. It says all citizens shall have the right to assemble peacefully without arms. C. All citizens shall have the right to form associations and unions. A, B and C, put this together, and that is what the fundamental right of a person staying in India, the citizen of India, that's his fundamental right of going to a place, saying what he thinks is right, saying what he thinks he wants to, calling like-minded people, calling a group of people to stand with him and ask for what he wants, or even forming a union to ask for what he demands for. Proviso, he does it peacefully and without any arms. This is how protest is defined in our constitution. Now that being said, the constitution doesn't say कि भाई you do what you want, you go do protest, spoil the law and order and all. No. Constitution doesn't allow that. The constitution says that there has to be very, very clearly demarcated, defined restrictions that you have to ensure that is imposed during a protest. For starters, your protest should not be against operating of any law of the state. You can't stop or you can't cause hindrance for the state to operate a law. The second is that you cannot harm the sovereignty and the integrity of the country. You cannot do that. Third is that you cannot spoil relationship by protesting. You cannot spoil relationship with a friendly country of India. You cannot spoil that. So there are restrictions that the constitution has laid to ensure that while you protest, but to ensure that you don't harm the country while you're protesting. So this is as far as the constitution is concerned. Now let us go to judiciary before we talk a little about why protest and why protest is so important in a democracy. Okay, now let's go to judiciary. What does the judiciary say? The judiciary says that, while dissent and democracy goes hand in hand, but dissent should be in a designated place. You can't one fine day say that, "Arey yaar, theek hai yaar, okay, I am very unhappy with this thing," and so yaar, call 1,000 of your friends and you stand in middle of wherever and start protesting. That is not right. So dissent goes hand in hand with democracy, but it has to be in a designated place. This is what the law says. This is what judiciary says. Judiciary also says that, Baba, listen, and I'm referring to various cases, so I'm just going to give you the essence of it. I'm not mentioning case by case, but judiciary also says that, listen, you can't like occupy one place and then sit there for the rest of your life and say, "नहीं, हम लोग अभी इधर ही बैठ के demonstrate करेगा, इधर ही बैठ के protest करेगा." That is not right. It has to be for a specific period. So that also the judiciary is very clear about. Each citizen of India was entitled to enforce his fundamental rights against the government, subject to any reasonable restriction as might be imposed under the law. Government could, in larger public interest, take decisions to restrict enforcement of freedom only for a valid and proper justified reasons. The law is very clear here. He says, listen, you know what? You have the right to go and express your dissent, but the law too has the right to impose reasonable force, take reasonable action, restricts your movement reasonably if it is causing a law and order problem. That the law has the right, the government has the right, the state has the right, but it has to be very reasonable. It should not be to crush a dissent. It should not be to crush the protest. This is what fundamentally what the judiciary says broadly. Okay. Now, why do people protest, and why is protest so important in a democracy like us? The question is, and what Rohit asked me is, why can't we go to the law? Why can't we go to court and just file a court case and then fight against the law, or fight against the bill, or fight against the action, the government, or whatever? Go to law. Why are we protesting? Protesting is a way where we express to our government, who we elected, that we are not happy with what you are doing, or this act of yours, or this action of yours, or this decision of yours. This is the fundamental right of a citizen, where he tells his government, saying that I am not happy with this action of yours. Number one. Number two is, yes, Rohit, you are right. You can go to court and you can file a suit. But the fact is, when a protest is taken on the street, the protest also ensures that others come to know that there is an action of this sort taken. That also builds awareness. So, like the India against corruption, whatever the reason of that protest would be, but India against corruption, the only good thing that protest did was it built awareness about corruption, awareness about policy paralysis in the country. It spread, that the protest spread. Had it been in some court, a few intellectuals or people who are very keen on reading current affairs and all, they would have read it, but otherwise it wouldn't have spread the kind of awareness that possibly that Anna movement spread at that point in time. So a protest ensures, a CAA protest ensured that people were made aware that, you see, it is not fair. At least one particular community feels that the implementation of CAA is not fair to them. That protest made the community, the protest made the country aware of it. So therefore protest is very important, number one. Number two, protest is important is because if it is not protest, then we become a majoritarian state. Which means that if the majority is okay with it, theek hai, nothing goes wrong. A small group of people protesting in a Jantar Mantar or a Bandra Kurla commercial complex or a Azad Maidan or a Ramlila ground, a small group of people creates awareness that one small minority of our country is not happy with a certain decision, certain policy, certain action. That gives the right for that minority to tell the whole nation that, listen, this is not right, this is injustice to us, or whatever. So a protest for that matter of fact, is absolutely imperative when it comes to democracy. And a vibrant democracy is when a group of people, the citizens there, has the right to say what they feel like, the right to go and tell their government, I don't agree to you. Now, like I said earlier on, I am at the cost of repeating myself. You see, the government can restrict you. The government can restrict you whenever you are, to say that, Baba, there is a law and order problem, you can't do that. It may cause more issues. It may be already handling an issue, coming up, this political party is coming or political leaders coming will cause more issues. The government can restrict you. But that being said, that if the government restricts a protest more than allows it, that government is actually throttling the voice of the people. Few protest, sure, the government has to take actions. The government has to ensure that law and order is met. But if every second protest, the government has a problem with. Every second protest the government sees as a law and order problem. Every second protest the government sees that it is going to be anti-national. Every second protest the government sees it as political. Then there is a problem. Then the government is indirectly trying to tell you that, listen, buddy, don't protest. You know why? Because the majority is with us. And that is a direct harm to democracy. And that is why protest becomes so important. So this was my subject today. And I hope I have answered Rohit's question. So that's it from me. Till I see you next time. Namaskar.